Fun fact, you can use, it's gonna sound bad, but you can use a coloring marker and then you can take a dry erase marker over it and it will, it does work. I just have to erase it.
To the
Yeah, so
flag
I put a
of the
copy of
United
it and
States
then
of
I erase it
America,
over it.
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I've tried.
Roll call. Captain Allen.
I can hear it.
Jane Armstrong. Dow.
It's good stuff. That has to
We
be.
have a staff.
Hi, everybody. Look who I haven't seen in forever.
Tom Maloney is a representative staff member. He is an incredibly passionate and positive involved in dedicated staff member who seeks to surround students to be the best he is always cheerful and motivational and holds students accountable. He truly shows great passion and enthusiasm Tom even went so far as to call Iowa State football one of his weekly he makes students feel heard, valued, and appreciated. Often to the staff and families of what and let's celebrate the whole family. Tom encourages volunteering time for activities, programs outside of the structure. He visited students at the park to take pictures before their dance. He has started an awesome jazz band that has been recognized for outstanding performances as part of Jazz Fest. He is hosting a theater concert tomorrow night. Okay. Additionally, he is our go-to guy, always running his best staff many of our end of the year activities and programs, help coordinate the donations for our other events, you also resident and Marcel. Has been with us for the first time here at Frankfurt, but his impact is lasting. So colleagues who have been here forever. For all this and more, Tom deserves a commitment, and we hope he knows how to be appreciated and loved by us. Thank you.
Roll call. Jamie Armando, Caitlin Fredo, Mandy Joust,
Just one thing.
Charlie Moore, John Tiger, Jesse Long.
But I had an opportunity to go to the county conference.
We have a staff member of the month, so I think this
High Point, I guess.
Mrs. Wolf is going to present.
So, they did a great job with that. So, there's so many things to do for us.
Okay.
Realistically.
Tom Maroney is a candidate worthy of the recognition as staff member of the month. He is an incredibly passionate, positive, involved, and dedicated staff member who consistently allows students to be the best musicians they can be and the best people they can be. He is always cheerful and motivational and holds the students accountable. He truly shows great passion as an educator, and his love for music is contagious. Tom even went so far as to call High Point High School to ensure one of his 8th grade students built band into her high school schedule. He makes students feel heard, valued, and appreciated, listening to their stories, even reading some of their poems, and is consistently a welcoming and happy educator. He's an awesome communicator, keeping staff and families informed what's happening with the band, lesson schedules, rehearsals, and so on. Tom is constantly volunteering his time for activities and programs outside of his normal duties as a band member. He visited students at the park to take pictures before their 8th grade dance. He has started an awesome jazz band that has been recognized for outstanding performances at Sparta's Jazz Fest. He's hosting a pavilion concert tomorrow night to showcase that. Additionally, he is our go-to guy, always willing to set up sound systems, including this for tonight. Thank you, Tom, for helping us out. And for many of our end-of-year activities and programs, he helped in coordinating a movie trip, directing the outstanding school performance of the Andy Junior. The 5th grade concert was another success. He was also a judge in the talent show. Tom has been with us for a short time here at Frankfurt, but his impact is lasting, and he truly feels like a colleague who has been here forever. For all this and more, Tom deserves our recognition. He knows how deeply appreciated and loved he is by all. Thank you, Tom.
Tom, you're going to stand up and get a photo.
He's great. You go, Mandy's coming over with your kids.
Counselor, also guidance counselor. So we're noticing there's kind of a need in our school, more a way to kind of bridge the gap in elementary. And it's been a huge struggle for us all the way from the all the common language that no matter what something that comes from my so through the SKIP committee, this clause, an acronym for Partnership Acceptance Working Support, we're calling it Office School Community Plan. And what it is you're keeping yourself and trying to with your classroom, you all start to work on that. So once we have implemented this, this is something that's going to be out and try to drive forward or anything else. So here's our mission statement. Create a culture and climate that incorporates the values of partnership and government support that occurs in all classrooms.
Next up, we have Mr. Bryce Yanoff with the student.
And then kind of what we're going to do is do a quick overview of what's in 20. My colleagues will kind of try to keep it within the colors. So the first one is partnership, developing relationships and partnerships in our community. And underneath is the different words that we were given to that teachers look at the youth for students, an idea of how you can show partnership. The next one is acceptance, understanding and accepting one another's qualities. Leadership, humble, and awareness, character, attitude. Again, this is someone that we can use with our students to help them out. The next one is work, valuing and appreciating one's work for his strengths and talented, as well as diversity, honesty, merit, validation, virtue, joy, and dignity. And the last one is support, demonstrating support and respect for yourself and others in the community. Optimistic, dependable, trust, fair, respectful. So this is, we took all those words and kind of put them into our conference. So we're going to tie it all back together. And our hope is that we're going to keep using this word, everything after certain keys is kind of have it all ready for them to go. And you're going to be seeing some of those conferences around our schools. Like here, he's showing causes, he's showing different things. Acting in such a way that you're kind of valuing yourself, valuing the community, and those around you. And then every month we're going to push out a video that focuses on the different aspects of the conference. So we have the first one finished, we're going to share with you tonight. As well as fantastic job along with Brent and Partnership means being a person who is connected to others and develops good relationships to create a positive, supportive community. One activity we hope to participate in to promote these partnerships is bring toy Fridays. On Fridays, bring your FBS gear, jersey, bulldog gear, anything that shows your support for Rachel. As you enter the building, bust out your best dance moves and dance for your Friday. Once the music ends and we say the pledge, listen for a positive quote and think about how this can apply to your life. In early October, look forward to Spirit Week, Week of Respect, partnering together to promote respect. Around this time, get your increased students and look forward to a special guest speaker, Brian Thompson, to provide self-reflection on your work. Also, be sure to check out the student goals boards for the elementary and middle school colleges and all of the happenings in their lives. At the end of the marching period, staff members will nominate one student per grade level as a student of the marching period. This student will accept a partnership at the company. We look forward to this marching period partnership activity and the inspiration to be made.
Thank you.
I think we have one comment.
I'd like to talk about, breakfast and family and number, item number 7. I'm really saddened with the recognition of this woman, the Howard. She has really done an excellent job in the program and put the heart and soul into it. I would like to select this because we have to do it. It really feel that
We didn't make that. We didn't make that. No.
no, I know that, but the choice that she was going to have to keep going to stop. That's it. So, but she realized that she couldn't run the program if she wanted to, they went. And I think that's really, not only made it difficult for her to make that choice, but I knew that she found that over the years, somebody could benefit this program, and by opening it the way it wasn't going to keep this program. I really want to say thank you to this for all the years of service. She's done a great job, and all those students that have benefited from. With that, with her resignation, I hope that she will be able to back the mechanism for the science program. Because I know you work very much on the school curriculum, special classes that we have in rotation cycle. And since the children already enjoy that rotation and it's already there, I hope to bring it back and then hopefully the SP program as well, with another person, different people who save on benefits, and yet those will be, they are going forward. I think it's important that we discuss the classes, that the ones that you were mentioned, that the last one, that the time is like a little bit of classes, and I think the students will get much more out of the science class than the classes that we trying to get on. So I hope we can do that. The last section is on item 19. The merit goal, are those funds paid for with grant, or did they come out of our fund?
Once the music ends and we say the pledge, listen for a positive quote and think about how this can apply to your life.
Thank you very much.
In early October, look forward to Spirit Week, Week of Respect, partnering together to promote respect. Around this time, 5th grade students can look forward to a special guest speaker, Brian Thomas.
This brings us to executive session.
Motion to
Also,
go
Michigan
into executive
has
session.
bulletin boards in the elementary and middle school.
I am ready.
All right, we are back in session. The next part of the agenda is the superintendent principal section. Mr. Williams.
Yeah, what I wanted to concentrate on in my segment of the board here is the transition from interim superintendent to permanent superintendent. Just some of the things that we routinely do. When I came here, Braden spent several days with me and was always available to come back and explain something, how to get into that program or that, whatever the issue was. So it's important that the two superintendents work together on these things. And of course, Kevin has been great about working with us on it. And I just want to share just a few things that we do in transition so you have an idea. We certainly talk about staff appointments, and we'll be doing that. We also talk about the school budget situation. We would always talk about the school budget situation. I would also let him know about the meeting with mayors. Matter of fact, he attended the meeting we had with the mayors of both Grantsville and Frankfurt just the other day. And we were talking about, mainly talking about budget issues, both long and short-term impacts of budgetary concerns. And he was there, so we certainly knew that. We're talking about our staff reductions, what we had because of the budgetary situation. Also, we've been talking to him almost every day, including today, about some of the positions we need to fill. Full-time school nurse, full-time special ed teacher, which is a new position because of our demands on the special ed program. We have an elementary teacher available, position available in November, part-time speech therapist, and the BSP cycle teacher is still available. Going on, we talked about scheduling a non-course. You probably remember that Kevin was the one who recommended, as did Braden first, that we go from real time to on-course. And we're in the process of doing that in addition to help from Kevin himself. Many people, including David and Victoria Armstrong, have been instrumental, and of course, Janine, three of them have been instrumental in putting this together. We talk about the facilities, the roof project, which will be happening this summer, and now we need to work around some of the academic programs we have in order to get the roof project done. We also informed him and have had discussions about the septic system issue, which is somewhat of a long-term deal we have to deal with. Each year, and this year probably more than most, there will be room moves. We hope to expand our preschool program to 2 rooms next year. This has nothing to do with the preschool expansion grant that we may be going for. It's just that we need with the number of students we have and anticipate, we really do need 2 rooms so we can separate the students by age, at least part of that. So we've worked on that. That does create a domino effect with several rooms down in the elementary division. The preschool expansion aid, again, Mr. Newman is very interested in doing that. As you've heard, I just keep repeating this because I want people to know exactly how it rolls out. We anticipate the application coming to us in July, due date in August sometime, funding decisions in September, and starting the program end of October or later. Sure, it'll be later than that. All the folders and files, etc. Victoria is all set for the new superintendent. I also talked to him about the tremendous team we have with David, Janine, Chris, Ronnie, Ruxton, Victoria. Everybody working together. Nobody wasting any time just working on things for staff and kids. I tell him about how wonderful the TEA has been with everything, supportive of education, number one, and the membership and, of course, the leadership has been great under Matt's leadership. Also brag about the PTA, and I mean this in all sincerity. The PTA is really second to none. I've been in a lot of school districts, particularly the last decade, since I've been doing interim work. Uh, Second to none, the PTA. And the staff involvement in the PTA is amazingly robust. It really is. That's wonderful, wonderful to see. We did explain and show Kevin the way we present HIBs to the board in a simple form that makes it a little easier perhaps. Uh, we explained why we extended the vector training. This is training that's required by the state. We extended it all the way to May 10th from much earlier in November because we felt, Janine and I felt, and David felt that it was creating a little frustration, so we decided to move it back, check with the state, and so that's how we did it. He was out there the other day at drop off in the morning with me and dismissal. So it's back to seeing those processes. We talked about his visiting the lunch and recess rooms, student discipline. I kind of explained to him how I deal with student discipline with little kids and how it varies from what we deal with the 5 through 8 division and what we do with 3K 4 division. Bragged about Chris Olivo, how tremendous he is. We explained to him so he understands at least what we're looking to do. We're thinking about calling the curriculum offering to cycle programs CLICS, which is career readiness, life literacy, and key skills, is what the state calls it. And we've already talked about the sequence of four courses that would be involved there. I also mentioned the document that, again, Dave, Judy, and I put together during the year, kind of to simplify the instructional process where we said, key is understanding the kids, clearly, but even more importantly, just understanding the kids you have in the class, what they need, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. Also, very important is to understand the core standards. Very important that we do those things, and the core standard is your North Star, if you will. What you really need to know is the core standards. We also talked about the importance of pacing, getting all of them through the curriculum. In some past years with the COVID situation returning to school, we had some difficulty getting all the way to the end of the trail there. So that was very important. As Janine term, spiral back to things that were taught earlier. Unit 1, Unit 2, quick refreshers to keep everybody on topic. We talked about some special committees we have in the district, critical threat assessment, school safety and climate committee, SCIP committees, which we heard from today. We also talked about some critical board committees, the policy and curriculum committee, the finance committee. We also talked about the need for us to take a close look at our restraint guidelines. We have to do a little bit more in that area, not restraining more children, but reporting. We need to take another look at that. I also mentioned to him that between Victoria, Ronnie, Janine, and David, all the technologies will be readily available to him. He's also a wizard in technology anyway, so that'll work out well. And we also gave a full list of key contacts, plus to the association, the board members, give a full list of everything. Well, the reason I wanted to mention that is there is a process to get a superintendent ready to take over either an interim role or a first-year role. And this is just a small sampling of some of the things that we need to do to get ready. And, just so you have an idea of the number of things that we think of in order to get the next superintendent ready. And even with that, there'll be a lot of things that he'll discover as he moves on. So I tried to do for Kevin, very good straight and narrow, of course. Also, I wanted to thank the PTA for minutes the other day. It was amazing. Really was. We took about 40 pictures and 4 of them came out. So that would be 1 out of 10. So my record is intact, folks. But it was really wonderful to see those fathers actually dancing with these kids and kids want to jump on the stage, try to keep them safe. But, and the hula hoops and then the fair hair thing they were doing. It's really a great activity. And, you know, again, more obvious proof of what wonderful staff we have and what association we have. So, anyway, that's about all I can say. Thank you.
David, Mr. Sylvester.
So for the principal's report, we had great field days, one wonderful sound, greatly volunteering, diner. We had our annual book, where teams from grades 5, 6, and 7 participated in a competition for the school. Tremendous job. Tomorrow night, we have our concert in the pavilion. Tomorrow, June 11th, at 6 p.m. You can bring your own chair. Of course, people, as well as the jazz band outside of the pavilion over here on the Minnesota side. Our band and chorus is traveling to Tony Park, the High Note Festival. The concert band and jazz band are excellent ladies. Of course, and the lady. So again, it's up to we have a wonderful favorite ticket hosted by High Point for our favorite Scott and Cleveland, like up there, my home. We had a tremendous talent show run by our student council. Our fifth grade went to the classroom today. Our eighth graders will be going down to kindergarten and first grade classrooms tomorrow. They will be doing the graduation buddies activity. They asked that would be and then on Friday, we have our E3 graduation. That would be at 6 p.m. for livestock event fairgrounds. Students will begin arriving at 5 p.m. to visit the building for their pictures. The ceremony is in that. We also have 3 days of only investigations. One was unfounded.
Also, just wanted to mention again that what we try to do in these reports is talk about different things so that, you know, it's not redundant to people. So I think we have no redundancies this month. All right, good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rennie and Mr. Sylvester. Next, we have some monthly activities. Through August. On June 5th, we have the kindergarten exchange, which is amazing. June 7th, we have the Lower Green Field Day. I can't say enough about SBA, father-daughter here. My girls loved it, and my husband, we were short of dancing for it. We had a policy and curriculum at 5 o'clock. We have a meeting tonight. And Thursday and Friday this week, we have 12:45, dismissal with the last day school meeting. We do have our next regular scheduled board meeting, on August 26th, with a special meeting on June 24th. Dave, would you like to give an update from the policy committee?
So we talked tonight, about DSE. I just want to assure everyone that program is not, business design. The program is not disappear. And then we mentioned that and are happening this summer.
Yes, correct.
So we needed to update our science program for grade 2 through 5 as it was outdated, both on print aspects as well as the content standards. So we spent, I spent from the beginning of this year through April with a committee of teachers looking at programs. that started with, probably 20 of them, now I'm down to 6 that we really, took a close look at and added on in mystery science. So, mystery science, really talks about, phenomena, which is why things happen. It poses a question. It offers both mini lessons, for example, I have myself here. It's hands-on science, so and teachers in grades 3, 4, and 5 will do them in mystery box, which is all the things that they need in order to have hands-on science lessons and things like that. And then in grade 1 and 2, their science programs are pretty well established, and they put on basic things that you can find in their classroom like biology and things like that. Which will be helpful for, so in each of the grade levels, for 3 through 5, which is our major focus for mystery science, 4 grade units with lessons and it's all standard one. As you can see, the pictures and the videos that are coming along are very vibrant. But, they'll ask these questions like, how do you find a whale in the desert? I'm not going to answer. You'll have to ask this guy when they come in and ask them that question and see if there's really a whale in the desert. But there's videos, there's teaching time, there's discussions, there's hands-on activities. And one of the things that we made sure that we focused on was that the content within mystery science was focused on 3D assessments. So 3D assessments for the new science program want you to understand that science is more than just a topic, that this very core idea is more than just a whale, but there's also cross-cutting concepts or phenomena that go along with it, and that there are practices that you have to do in order to be good scientists. Like you're asking questions, you're looking at data, you're applying data to different things like that. So there's also many lessons that are involved because we know how time runs short sometimes for teachers because we have 1,000 things to do in about 2 minutes. So there's so many lessons that everyone's going to use all of these things that are listed here up on the wall. The performance tasks and the phenomenon, I think are the most engaging because they ask these questions like whales and desert and they find out whether or not they can do it. Was intriguing to me when they asked that question when we were looking at it. So here's another one. What happens if you have a skull? For granted, I won't play the video because that's not fair. But these are some of the questions that are asked as students. And then, of course, the features that come with it. There's vocabulary, because we know that science is a tier 1 vocabulary level, so you're looking at tier higher level words that are directly connected to the science topic. There's an anchor layer inside all of these that connect the power of something to many different content areas. So we're talking about how kids can transfer the information that they're getting from one topic to many different topics. One of the things that students struggle with on the NJSLA science assessment is that the question on the assessment might be about penguins, but we also read about whales and dolphins. And they have trouble seeing the connection between whales and penguins. So this program helps make these connections to different species and different things that they're doing, so this can make the connections and your knowledge. Of course, this is really great. I'm working with the teachers this summer. They've worked in this year already to look at how their standards run and what their classes will look like. And I already mentioned the history package that they will be getting, help you learn about learning. That's kind of an overview of the program. Any questions? All right, short and sweet. Thank you, Dr. Next up,
Okay. I'll just talk loud. So roof project is set to start on the 17th, so that's next Monday, with substantial completion in the middle of August. I think it's roughly August 15th is when it's contracted to be significantly complete, but we have our first payment application from Duga Construction here. We have a resolution number 20. That is for all the materials for the project. So everything is set to be on schedule. I don't expect any real delays. It's actually a fairly reasonably simple roof because there's not a lot of items protruding through the roof membrane or anything, so it's going to be pretty straightforward. We've got the staging, everything all mapped out, so we're set to go as soon as school lets out. I do have on here, I'm actually going to, I'll change the order of things just because one item is going to be more discussion than the rest. So moving forward, we have the reserve deposits resolutions. Every June, and only in the month of June, we're allowed to put deposits of any surplus funds into our reserve account. So that's capital reserve, maintenance reserve. Capital reserve is instrumental for, we're using that for our roof project. It takes many years to build it up enough to do a significant impact on any of our projects, but it has allowed us to do many projects over the years. So every June, we're able to put some money into there, as well as our maintenance reserve. Maintenance reserve is what we're able to use for repairs that come up that are not anticipated in the budget. So I have a resolution here right now to use maintenance reserve to do 2 HVAC repairs that fixes the air conditioners in the middle school office and guidance, as well as the faculty room that have, the compressors have gone or just quit just recently. So we're repairing those, but we need to replenish those funds so that way we can do these items as they come up. We've used them for various needs, boiler repairs, as I mentioned, HVAC, plumbing. When our septic system failed in 2018, we were able to pay for that entire repair with our maintenance reserve because we've been building it up over the years. So I have 2 resolutions to put. One would be putting 50,000 into the maintenance reserve. I think we've used roughly a little over 40,000 this year so far. And then we have in our budget, we have to plan for excess surplus, which is tax levy relief. Every year I've been trying to meter that as our state aid has come down. I've been trying to manage the ability to actually end up with a surplus at the end of the year. Several years ago, it was up to $250,000. But as state aid has been declining, it's been more and more difficult to try and find in our budget ways to, even though we budgeted expenses, to try and make sure that we underspend our budget so that way we don't end up with would be a hole in the following year if we don't end up with the excess surplus to put towards the tax levy. So I've been trying to whittle that down every year so that way it doesn't get compounded with the fact that state aid has been going down at the same time. So in this resolution back at the back of here, we have resolutions number 34 and 35. Anything above $90,000 that when the audit is completed will go towards our capital reserve. I expect that may be roughly $35,000. It all depends on when the auditors finish all of the numbers, but this is a routine item we do every June. Any questions on that? Okay. Next in line, we have the maintenance reserve utilization. As I mentioned, we're doing 9,000 for 2 different HVAC repairs, as well as we're going to be doing some pruning of the trees in the courtyard. They're pretty sizable and they hang over the school itself, so we want to pare those back so that way we reduce any risk of any storms striking them through. So it's going to be pretty much just reducing some of the weight. We're not removing those. Future tree removals, though, we do have 2 very large, very mature, and very much dead or dying maple trees next to the board office. Those are not going to be adjusted right now, but we're going to take care of those possibly next year. However, in the tree pruning, there are 2 other very enormous trees along the board office on the other side of it that are hanging over the building. So we're going to be reducing some of the weight on those trees as well, but not removing them. But in that, we're using the maintenance reserve because it's not a budgetary item. Last two items, I have the summer bill payments. I just need to designate 1 or 2 board members that would be willing to review the bills lists over the summer months, since we do not have, I'm sorry? As available. We usually have one for end of June, and then we'll have one in the middle of July or late July as well. So, okay, so you'd be doing, okay. I'll reach out to both of you, see when you're available, and I can either come to the board office or I can bring them over to you. Let me just make a quick note. Okay, and the annual contracts notice, this is another item that in the month of June, this is as per the accountability regulations that came out in 2010, we have to list by resolution every contract, major contract that for services or goods that the board has approved over the course of the year, to note that those contracts may or may not be allowed to expire or be renewed. So it's a formality, but you'll see on the attachment that is in there, it just lists when the contract was approved, what the board resolution was, and who it was for, and what the services were. And then in July, I'll have to post an advertisement in the newspaper saying the same thing, that those contracts may be allowed to be renewed or expire for the following year. I'm not quite sure what the purpose is, but we have to do it, so I do it. So backing up for the budget. As you know, I sent out information that the state recently passed and the governor signed legislation allowing supplemental tax levy adjustments in light for districts that lost state aid between 2020 and 2023-24 school year. And they allowed an adjustment up to a total tax levy increase of 9.9%. I'm not suggesting that, I'm just saying this is what the law allows. What we did pass and in the budget for next year was a tax levy of 4.019%. But we were using capital banked cap or cap adjustments based on our enrollment growth and health insurance cost increases. With the new adjustment per the new law, they gave us allowable adjustment of $481,000 that does not touch our cap. So what my proposal was, there's two things to discuss for the board to consider. One is to reapprove the budget with the same tax levy, no changes to the tax levy, but then allowing our enrollment growth adjustment to be banked for potential use in one of the next 3 years if we need it. So it's still the board's decision whether or not you want to use those adjustments, but it's just allowing flexibility for. No, so it'd be, if not used in the year it's generated, you can use it in one of the following 3 years. Okay, so this would allow us to bank another $149,000 bank, just for potential need in any one of the following 3 years. So that's if you just approve what I have here as the budget consent agenda as is listed. Like I said, it does not increase the tax levy. Those numbers that are on there pulls from a different pool. Those numbers that are on there are from the approved budget. No changes. It's just the resolution number 39 reflects a higher amount than what was originally submitted for the budget back in March. And that's just banking it. The other item which I wanted to bring up is whether or not the board decides they want to move forward with the full-day preschool program. I know the program is funded by the state, however, it does not cover the cost of transportation. I know other districts have dealt with this, some blindly, some knowingly, knowing that the funding is only for the per pupil amount for the education program. It does not cover the cost of transportation. In our budget, we had discussed trying to cut our transportation costs back, and we went through a feasibility study and managed to cut back one transportation route by consolidating and rerouting all of the bus routes. If we do have full-day preschool, we are going to need to bus those students that do not have their parents drive themselves. We will be mandated to provide transportation for the students. With that in mind, we won't have a bus route unless we have money to pay for it. So my suggestion is, if we want to go through that, I would strongly suggest that we reinstate funding for the bus route that we took out.
That is the $50,000 gap.
Yes.
Between the $20,000 that the grant allows for.
Yes.
We would need an extra
Yes, because
$50,000 for year one.
for year one. So as per what the county has told me, and that's new for this year's grant, or this year's funding, is in the initial year, they're allowing you to use $20,000 towards transportation for the first year. Correct. I think it's to try and help ease the burden, but, the following year we'll have to deal with the 20,000 as well, but 20 is better than a total of 70 in one shot.
So let's have discussion about it. I called everyone because I talked to Jonah. Mr. Lazar called, and I spoke about this on the phone this afternoon, at what time, so it's like 3:45?
Yeah, 3:45, about that.
So I then called all the board members to just let them know that this is coming up. You can contemplate and really think about what you want to do as far as the grant. It's not guaranteed that we get it. We are one of the only schools that does not have the pre-K program. Through the schools that actually say they're offering it now. So if anyone wants to open a discussion on their thoughts of this, what number are we voting for the pre-K grant agenda?
That's not on, well, I don't think it's on there yet.
Okay. It's not on there. But it's something that we all need to be thinking about and talking about. We had a very, very difficult year with our budget. This funding would then be taken away from the state by the time, and then you have to make the decision to disband the program or find a way to continue it, which would be impossible for us, especially at this point. So if they were to pull the funding, we would then cut that. I know one of the concerns discussed, and that came into my mind, and I discussed it to mayors, in front of the senior living. We do have one, off the top of my head, we have 3 daycare programs in Branchville and Frankfurt. We have one that's very interested in hosting, the out-of-school placements that we would need for this program. One of my concerns is, what does that do to the 2 other daycares? Because if I'm getting free pre-K over here, I'm trying to come over there, which means students are leaving, children are leaving those other daycares. Can those daycares afford to run an infant and toddler program? Probably not. What are we doing to our community as a whole with that? What are we doing by opening up our budget and asking for $50,000 more when we already made staff cuts, program cuts? It's a lot to think about, and everyone has to have their own opinion to see what we want to do on it. If anybody else has a thought, please speak up.
So we talked about upside down. If we apply for the grant, and we get the grant, how do you say no?
And we politely decline them.
Can we decline?
That's a good question. That hasn't really come up in my conversations, nor has it come up in my review of the documents. So I don't really know the answer to that. We would have to see. What happens with these grants, particularly this grant, is the first webinar we attended with details are very basic. When you get into the actual writing of the grant, more details come into play. And you could potentially, I suspect, have a comment that if funded, the district has agreed. I don't think that would be the case, but I don't want to guess on that. I just don't know the answer to that. Hasn't come up. Has not come up.
We have to offer.
We have to offer the
And they
transportation.
don't have to waive it, because every other school when we're having.
It's just a shame, because right now, if they're taking their children to pre-K out of the facility, they're transporting their child.
Yes.
It's kind of a shame that that's required.
Yes.
My understanding, yeah. Pardon? Yeah, and we would, there's a bunch of things that we'll find, but, yeah, there's a bunch of things like that we'll find. For example, car seats for the little ones. We did talk about that. how we'd actually be able to put the children on the buses. Um, There is probably a little bit of room, but probably not enough room. So there's a lot of questions like that. Yeah, they do not have to be potty trained, only three, and some of them wouldn't be. So there's again, the details are forthcoming, which is the disadvantage. Everybody knows how I feel about it, though. I think I made my position clear that the district should do this. Our students will get a big hand up the cliff 2 years in a row by doing this. I think it'll make a world of difference socially and academically over time. And I think we need to do it if we can. It's a big move. It's a big move. And like Mandy said, we're one of only a few that don't do it. And
Yeah.
People want to bring in more debt. I don't think, while I can help some families immensely through daycare, it puts more burden on higher
I personally think that if we were in a different predicament with that funding, that I would totally be for it. I actually did ask this before the meeting was shut down. I know that we offer half-day pre-K now, and that they pay, I think it's $350 a month. I did ask Chris if there's a possibility if we could do full day pre-K and their families can pay for that, if we could offer that, even though we can't offer it for free, we could still offer something. I just don't, I in good faith can't vote for something, especially when we're already asking the mayors and the township of Frankfurt and residents to possibly be helping with us some things in the future, busing or whatever it may be, the septic. I can't physically say, okay, well, we're gonna raise taxes $50,000, but we need to give you, we need you to give us money to help us with those things. I just can't in good faith do that. Especially cutting staff and everything that we've already done and programs and stuff. I just can't consciously say yes to that.
One board member that I spoke to on the phone today, who always has a very thoughtful process, did say to me, we have a lot going on here already that we have to fix and we have to make good again. To add this on, when we already have we have work to do within these walls already right now, why would we bring on this huge task with a new superintendent? Now we need $50,000 right off the bat, and then the next year we're gonna need 70,000 or whatever a bus route costs at that point. So there are out-of-pocket expenses with this. You know, I think that was a good point as well. We have things, you know, we need to, hire a new DSP teacher that includes those cycle classes. If we, you know, we just have a lot going on that we need to do already. Right. And we have a new superintendent, so Mr., you know, we're gonna throw this at Mr. Newman, which, you know, I'm sure he's highly capable and he can do it, but is it fair to him right off the bat to say, now figure out a pre-K program to start in January?
can I just respond to that? One of the things that I just wanted to make clear on that one issue is that we would offer this, hopefully, at least investigate the feasibility of all of them, at least getting a piece of this. We wouldn't just give it to one. What I wanted to find out, just initially, was there interest in somebody doing it? Because you have 5 years to roll the entire program out. You don't have to roll the program out in year one. I'm also, I haven't made it a practice of arguing with the boards about that. That's not what I do. But what I do is I tell the board what I think, and I've always done that, even if I'm in the minority. That's my job, so I do what I think is the right thing to do. And I think it's very, through all the write-ups that I've given you on this, and everybody knows how I feel about it. So I get it, I do. And whatever the board decision is, I'm good with. Yeah, I am. But just important that everybody understand what Bob Mooney feels about it. That's all.
Are there many students that come to kindergarten that have not had some type of pre-K or some type, are there none that come? A couple?
I could find out. It might take a little while, but, I mean, it's, can be calculated, get a rough idea of what the tuition would be.
Facilities be an issue too, though. Don't forget facilities. Right? 35. I'm sorry, Jimmy. 3,500, I believe.
35, yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I have to
350 a
be in
month
touch
for
with
the,
If we overpaid, we owe you. No, it's 35. I've had to deal with a few parents about payment.
And the only question I would have is obviously if you offered the full day and they paid for that, how would it work when kids were doing half day versus full days, making that exact?
That's a whole other study, obviously. My guess is we could do that. Facilities be an issue though, because right now we're struggling, as I mentioned before, and I put it in the write-up. The pre-K, existing pre-K, because of numbers, is looking, the existing program is looking to get the classroom across the hall, next to the bathroom, which is allowable from what we understand, to expand the program. And that has nothing actually to do with, that's just a facility, it's not really a staffing issue. So, we would have some facility issues with that. We would certainly try to do it in all three facilities if we could. District Rainbows has room and wanted to do it. No, that's not the split. They're talking about splitting the 3-year-olds from the 4-year-olds because it doesn't, at times it isn't working. Right, and well, you'd have the same number of kids, children in both the morning session as it exists now and the afternoon, just we'd have two facilities for it. That's all. And, right, right. So right now, we have what we have, but we'd be splitting that. It's 17 in the morning and 16 in the afternoon, something like that. So that doesn't change, just they need the extra facility. This year, what they did is they went in the media center whenever possible to break it up and to give the students just should be a break from the crowd. We met with all the teachers to see if it was feasible last month or two, and that is the plan. Brian is all ready to do that. But that's not a change in the financial side of it. It's just a facility issue, which we think.
So, Mr. Lassard, when do we have to, if we were to get the grant and we need the $50,000, when are we to vote on reopening the budget? If we were to do
so the new budget, we have to vote to submit, like whether we change it or don't change it, by early July. We have to do a new public hearing, whether we vote to keep it as is and bank by July 15th.
Yes.
Yes. Um, I'll tell you this, if we're not gonna add the money to it, we can vote on it tonight. after next week, I'm out of here, so I'll be out of here being I'm on vacation, so I'd have to give you a whole lot of instructions beforehand. That doesn't mean you need to feel pressured to do so. But I need to be able to submit the budget to the county for them to review, and we have to have another public hearing. Not going to be as in-depth as the original one, but because nothing is really changing except for one or two items. The, the grant application or the funding application, it's not a grant, will be, expected July or August, and that's just a resolution to apply for it. It's nothing too in-depth beyond that as far as the resolution is concerned. It's just whether you want to plan for the funding. Yes. And it's done, I guess, yeah.
Wait,
So we put the car seats on them, but the parents are allowed to come in and strap their child in, as well as to come onto the bus to remove them from the seat. Because the driver is not supposed to leave their seat. So that's the only exception for parents coming onto the bus is to put their child on or take them off. Yes. Well, I think we even buy the ones for the first
You are
crash bus.
permitted,
There's not a lot of them.
you are permitted to have supplies as part of this budget for the program. Now, the supply could, I believe, be a car seat. I don't know the answer to how that would actually shake out yet. We'll get more details on that if we chose to do it. Again, the webinar we had didn't get into that level of specificity again. So I don't want to answer it other than we are allowed to supply money. And, you'd be buying those car seats in bulk, you look at car seats.
to vote on this consent agenda is to say we are not reopening the budget for $50,000 for a bus. To approve this.
Yes.
Does everyone understand what we're saying here? If you approve this consent agenda, 37 through 41, that we are not including the $50,000 in the bus.
Yeah, we would
If you
have,
vote no for this, then we can reopen.
we would have to find,
$50,000 for the bus.
what would happen is we would have to find the money. If you don't approve a change here and you approve going with the full day preschool, but not increasing the budget, then we will have to find the $50,000 in the budget. But next year, when it comes to renewing, we'll have that bus route that we will already be starting with a $50,000 shortfall in the funding because we've already committed to an expense that does not have any tax levy
The way this works,
to support it.
September, October, we're talking about this after
Yeah.
January 2nd. But we're gonna have that bus for the whole first half of the year. We can't get a bus to start the second half if we get it.
No, we would bid it out whenever this year starts and it's bid on a daily rate. However, the renewal for the following school year will be a full year's amount. So you can anticipate it'll most likely be at least $70,000 for the full year. So you're still talking, if you don't add it to the tax levy now, while we have the ability to, yes, we'll have the banked cap, but you're starting with a $50,000 expense, which is 1/3 of our allowable growth to begin with, that will not have any funding to grow.
So voting yes to this, yeah.
Yes.
You vote yes to this, you're saying you are not adding $50,000 for a bus.
But this does include some.
Right.
Yeah, it just changes whether we're just using the allowable growth. No, if you vote this down, I'm not going to submit any change to the budget and we'll just keep it as was approved in April at the hearing. So to vote as is, to vote as is with no changes, you're just saying we're going to adjust our banked cap. We're gonna bank what we have and just use the allowable growth because of it's a one-time opportunity, so we're gonna bank that for future needs. If you say you want to increase $50,000, then I just change these numbers to increase by $50,000 and adjust the tax levy up another 50,000, which the effect on the taxpayer is another $16 per year. So that's what it equates to. But the whole idea is either you want to put the 50,000, this is the time to do it, is now. And then I submit it to the county for review. We have a public hearing in July, and then it's added. The more time more time would be, we can readdress it on the 24th, and you come back.
Is there another chance at the prepaid grant a different year? Or we don't
Probably.
Don't know that.
Yeah, we don't know.
Don't know that.
And we don't know. I mean,
There's, right now, there's, they're adding $20 million, these are numbers I've already shared with you, $20 million to a grant of, there's 124 million, something like that. So they've added 20 million more for new districts, okay? And there's about 200, I think the number was 275 districts in the state that have this. So it's a big money item for the state. Well, I've spoken to them about it. They understand, where I'm coming from. I do think they have some hesitation about it, though, particularly one of the two. So, in all fairness, yeah, they do. Yeah, there's some hesitation is probably the right term, but because I did talk to them about it.
So, Chris, I make a motion now, or does it have to be through the agenda?
you can do it now. I mean, I just have it as the end of, as its own consent at the end of the agenda, but you can do it now, or whichever.
Right, so then if you
Correct.
don't want the bus out, then you would say yes, and if you want the bus out.
I just want more time to think about this. I'm not willing to say yes to that.
Well, if you're not sending
It will be very difficult for me to say.
Kate is not ready to vote on the bus route, so she would either say no or abstain.
So I think I'm just gonna make a motion to, because Chris is not gonna come up with something, so I have to do one of the decisions. I'm ready to vote on it. You guys all right? So I'm gonna make a motion to vote on it, because I'm confident in my answer. So I make a motion to vote on it.
We have a motion to vote on the budget consent agenda, letter I, which is number 2024-0610-37, 2024-0610-41.
Yeah, you can abstain.
So the bus
Well, the budget is number 37. You're right.
37 is what you would abstain or vote no to, if you would like $50,000 for the budget for a bus.
or just more time.
More time to think about it. Resolved that the Frankfurt Township Board of Education accept the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to the above identified payment number 2024-0610-37 and 2024-0610-41.
That's a little problem. It's not the recommendation of the superintendent. You don't need it because it's not personnel.
Correct.
It's not a recommendation of the superintendent.
No, it isn't. You know that. But
It's not legally, it does not have to be the recommendation.
it doesn't have to be the superintendent because it's not personnel. So it's okay. You can just not read that in.
Okay.
What's that?
I do have one correction. I realized the numbers on here, I have to update them because I made this, I had to put this together about 4 o'clock after I finally reached the county office. The numbers are not changing as far as what was approved on April 19th. It's just the numbers on there were the originals from March 18th. So that Total general fund expenditures is 11,290,203. Total taxes to be raised, if we're not adding the 50,000, $10,154,201. That's the total taxes to be raised. Total budgets, total expenditures, last column, 11,647,390. Total taxes to be raised, including debt service, 10,261,903. That's just to give you the corrections, so, because I gotta correct it when I put the minutes together.
I'm sorry.
Total expenditures, 10,261,903. Total taxes raised, sorry.
General fund total expenditures, 11,296,000.
203.
Under that same column, taxes to be raised,
10,000,000.
$10,154,201. That gives you the total expenditures, $11,647,390. Taxes to be raised, $10,261,903.
Correct. And we will need to, if passed, we will need to schedule a public hearing no later than July 15th. That's the blank on resolution number 37.
Second of all, there's a motion from Caitlin to vote on it, and I have a second from Jen.
The yes of 137 still allows us to spend the 149,000.
Yes. Kate Adams. Yes. Jim Armando. Yes. Caitlin Fredo.
Yes.
Jennifer Now. Charlotte Moore. John Carter. Jesse Vaughn. Ray Anderson is absent. Andy Johnson, yes.
I will find out. So are we don't need a resolution necessarily to schedule a hearing, but is it people available for a public hearing on the 15th? We will have to do one regardless because we're reapproving the budget. 15th or anytime between that. It does, but since we're revising how we're banking our cap, we have to have, it's a change to the budget, although it's not a change to the tax levy. Yeah, I can schedule it separately. Yeah, it is a Monday. Yeah. I'll email, find to poll people what date, and I'll just add, before I send the ad in, I'll make sure I get the date updated. We do probably 6 o'clock. I'll poll you so we can set the date. Possibly, I'll find out. In fact, I just canceled the Zoom subscription yesterday, or today.
Well, you can still.
I can do it. I can do it.
45 minutes.
Yeah, it'll be a quick meeting. Yeah, I'll sign that, and I will find out. Yeah, I understand. I will also double check if there is a possibility to change the budget at the hearing, as is the case in the normal budget approval, like we did at at the May 13th meeting. If that's possible, I'll get that information for you as well.
Thank you. School safety and climate. Brian Benson, we had a fire drill on May 24th and a shelter-in-place drill on May 30th. That brings us to the regular consent agenda. Be it resolved that Frankfurt Township Board of Education accept the recommendation of the two Frankfurt schools to approve the above identified regular agenda items numbers 2024-06-110-3 and 2024-06-110-36. Have a motion to vote.
Second.
Caitlin Kate. Kate Adams.
Yes.
Jenny Alonso. Caitlin Fredo. Jennifer Now. Charlie Mulder. John Tiger. Jesse Vaughn. Mike Anderson is not here. Randy Johnson, yes.
Okay.
That brings us to public comment. You can sign up, Mrs. Eckert. Yep. You just talked. So, motion to open public comment. First up, Mrs. Lori Eckert.
First of all, we can thank all of you for the time this year, and then thanks a lot. Also, like to say thank you to Louis. He's done a great job here at Member. We really appreciate all of you. And Mr. Sylvester, who is wonderful job here, we appoint him as our principal, and for another year. Appreciate all that. The June 24th special meeting, is that going to be what we call it? Okay, and then also, that July 15th is going to be the public hearing.
Potentially, yes.
If we're on that, that's what. All right, first thing I would talk about is graduation. As a graduate of Frankfurt, years ago, prior to COVID, in 1970, I graduated from Frankfurt, the OSHA graduation before. I know during COVID, we moved over to the academy at Fair, which makes sense, also makes sense as a rain location if you get up to high school. So I would just like to possibly bring that back, graduation year. I know it may not be easier for teachers and facilities and all that, but we have a beautiful courtyard, and I think it's important to graduate here rather than at the fair. That's just my opinion. You can always use the fair as a next, I heard several references to hiring DSP slash psychic teachers. So it doesn't sound like you're considering possibility of bringing back consumer science teacher, and I really don't know how that would make sense in my mind, because you were basically cutting the DSP position to a part-time position as it was, giving them cycle classes. And not to mention, I forgot to mention earlier, Mr. Amoni's tremendous band program is also going to be slashed because he's going to be teaching 2 additional classes as well.
Maybe he'll be in fifth grade.
So the DSP first will be teaching 3 cycle classes. Okay. Just trying to figure it all out. If you hire 2 part-time people, you're going to save money on benefits, and you're going to be an expert in those fields. We talked about bringing in one of the cycle classes is going to be youth appreciation in 5th grade. Right now, they have band. They also have music. They still have 5th grade. They still have music with Mrs. Layton. And now they're talking about adding a class in there for music appreciation, which would be every day, Monday through Friday, for a whole marking period. I don't know about you, but I don't know too many 5th graders who would take music appreciation over consumer science. Just my opinion. I think it's a lot easier to keep what we have in place rather than coming up with new curriculum. And the DSP person that comes in can devote themselves 100% to DSP. Now you're adding another one, so that DSP person can be even more strict. So I would hope you would consider that. It would be a win-win for everybody. I mean, no one's going to replace Liz Malone. She did an exceptional job, and I wish I could get her to come back because that position, she's fulfilled here for several years. No one's going to replace that. So I just would hope you would consider what sounds like you could save money, which we're talking about budget cuts and all that. We're talking about money. Mr. Target, if I'm correct, if you have a family, isn't it over like $35,000? So that's $35,000. You were just talking about not doing a preschool for 50. Now you can save $35,000 and you can have the program that we had and a DSP, not as good as Liz, and never gonna do the same, but you can have someone who's gonna focus on that 100% part one. So for what it's worth, I think this work, but I hope you guys will consider it. I don't know what I need to do to get you to consider it or anybody else, but I hope your minds are not made up and you're open to saving $35,000 and possibly having, the super science that you guys have done a great job with, as well as. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. President. We hear you, and we appreciate you being at every single board meeting. And having a thoughtful process for it all. We really do. Mr. Steiner, I believe you're up next.
Oh my God. My thing with this is, on top, the biggest thing is, I don't understand when you're a full-time person, they're gone, why hire another full-time person? You got the benefits across the board. Hire two part-time people, still keep the economic program in place. Everybody doesn't get burdened. So that happens all the time. With cuts, people get burdened and do extra work than they have to do. You hire two part-time people, no benefits the other people. It's common sense. All you have to do is step up and change it. You know what you should do, right? And the DSP program, I understand that, helps kids out a lot. But in my mind, it's more of an elite group that does this. Because if you sign up for it, the kids that keep on going through it are usually the top echelon kids. Economic program, that's for everybody. We talked about this before. And you guys, you said you went through all the financial things over and over again. We hate to do this, we hate to do that. You have an opportunity here where somebody voluntarily resigns. You have a chance to restore the program and make it work. And that's what you have to do in these financial times. And all I'm asking you to do is reconsider it so it makes sense for everybody. Let's burden on everybody else afterwards. And that's all I have. Think about it. You have time to talk about it. You have time to change things. You have some reason. Please think about it. Please take a step to get it done.
Thank you, Mr. Steiner. Mr. Satan.
On behalf of myself and the township committee, we'd like to thank Mr. Woody for being diligent and transparent, stepping up through our time of transition for the whole community. Thank you very much. Wish you were here 20 years ago. Also about preschool. Unfortunately, with the state of New Jersey, you don't know if next year it's going to be an unfunded mandate. And then the whole bill is going to be on us. And they do it time and time again. So you have to be diligent on it. I mean, the State Department of Education just breathed life. 22.5% raises for North teachers. That's our money. And we're paying teachers on. This is where we have to stand up. Down at the state, the local level, our hands are tied. 22.5% raise just for North teachers in 3 years. That's our money. Getting shipped down there, and we're having to lay people off and cut our classes. I cut a bunch of classes a couple years ago, and we're in the same boat. That's where we need to push back. We need to push back to the state. It's not fair that we get treated. Yeah, thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Satan. Motion to close public comment. Other items for the good of the order, board members, email security, please remember to complete the multi-factor authentication law in security for your extras email before July 1st to avoid being locked out. Instructions were emailed on May 14th. Nomination positions are due to specifying the county clerk before 4 p.m. on July 29th if you want to run for the Board of Education. Our next scheduled meeting, June 24th, possibly July 15th, and August 26th. I drove a couple items, sorry. Thank you so much to the FTEA for the Pies and Sierras dance. It was a success. I was so happy to see all the faces. My daughters were thrilled. We really appreciate the support that the FTEA gave to the PTA and continues to give it to. Also recognizing, I saw them marching at the Memorial Day parade. So, FTEA is fabulous and out so many things for us and represents us so well. Thank you this year to the PTA as well. The PTA puts on countless programs, spends so much money to help the school really promote the standard of excellence that we want Frankfurt to be. And again, just thanking them, as a part of the budget cuts, we did have to cut some school supplies to the teachers' classrooms, and the PTA graciously, Jen Vance met with Mr. Mooney and said, what can the PTA do to help with the budget? And they were able to supplement that to give us, supplies. Big Police always support the PTA, and they have their Tricky Day coming up November 15th. It's gonna be at the fairgrounds, so bring your friends with your cocktails or whatever you like. You can have a great time there, win some prizes, and that's one of their biggest fundraisers, so please do support TCI. Mr. Lassard, as far as governance classes, I haven't seen that governance 3 is opened up on the school board's portal
Should
yet.
be for the online, everyone should be registered
So
for it.
everyone remember to take the governance classes, 1, 2, and 3, is required. One other thing, we have graduation on Friday. So last year, Caitlin had a graduate and handed out her diploma. So this year, we have, my nephew, Tom Stroud, graduating, and John's daughter, Carly Kaiser. So just kind of going through that, John and I have agreed to we're gonna stiffy up with our best, right, John? Photo op ready, and, I'll take the front half, we're gonna Thomas there, be short, so he's in the front half. Carly's a little bit taller in the field, so she'll be at the back half, and John can, bring her face to front. So going forward, just wanna throw this out there, if you have a graduate, are you up? Next year, Kate, you're the following year? Yeah, so like next year, Charlene will do it, the following year, Kate will do it, so if you have an eighth grader, or, right, it doesn't always happen, board graduate, so, yeah, so you can, and, we'll split it, if it's 2 of you, we can split it, you know, but. Oh, you got an eighth grader too? Oh, I thought you were calling, I didn't hear. Are you sure she's graduating? Like, tell me this woman. All right. So Jackie, you can come on up, you can also. And then one last thing. You saw, Mr. Mooney, that this was your last board meeting. So sorry, Jackie, back on June 24th. But I can't tell you how appreciative I am for your 2.6 year at Frankfurt. From the very beginning of the school year, we had parents posting on Facebook how wonderful and how they love Mr. Mooney, just getting little things out of the car. Mr. Mooney, you exceeded what we could have ever thought in terms of attending every after he was here at the dance on Friday night. Everything that the students were involved in, things that people probably don't know. You know, we have more trouble on the buses sometimes. Mr. Mooney rode the bus. Mr. Mooney followed the bus. That is not part of what we expected from him. And I will tell you, when last year, we were kind of drowning as a board. We had no goals. Reagan made a huge point to tell us that at one meeting. We had no communication. There was just a lot of fighting at the dais, which we didn't see. We were literally drowning as a board. And you came in the room, for an interview, and immediately I just felt a peace and calming. You, yeah, first time you agreed on anything unanimously. And Mr. Mooney, I know Kate had experience with you at meetings, where she vouched for you, and man, you are the best thing that we ever agreed on all together. First thing and the best thing, Mr. Mooney. And we are so happy to have you coming, but it's so bittersweet to have you leaving. And we appreciate you interacting. He opened up communications with the mayor. He opened up communication with Mr. Newman from the start. I mean, there's just so much that I could just gush about you, Mr. Newman. And so the board did come together. We got you a card and a little gift, and we hope Susan appreciates the gift as well. So we can take her out to dinner.
Okay, thank you so much.
We really appreciate it, because, I mean, honestly, Mr. Rooney, you saved us. Thank you.
One of the, oh,
It's on.
it's on, is it on?
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to do at the end of the meeting, was to, one, uh, mention that I want to talk to the teachers, but when they're all here on the 14th. I gave you a prelude to what I wanted to say at the last faculty meeting about the incredible staff we have. But I also wanted to take this opportunity to sincerely thank the Board of Education. They have been, in my humble opinion, outstanding on every level. They've been supportive, they've done their homework, they care about the staff, they care about the kids, they care about the families. And it's been a pleasure for me to come to school the last year. I appreciate the opportunity to serve. Obviously, I'm enjoying this. This is my 52nd year doing it. And maybe I'll keep doing it. Who knows? If I get my legs fixed, I probably will. But the board, I think it's been great, personally, professionally, and in every other way. So each and every one of you, I appreciate all you do. I also like to thank Chris and Ray for their time on the board. And again, 11 board members we've had during my short time here. And just thank you all so much. And thank you for kind thoughts and your gift. And I really appreciate it all. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Mooney. I'll see you on the 24th.
Be there.
Oh,
Just before closing, just to highlight those two items. Not diminishing from Bob at all. Just a reminder, so I say it out loud. We have your emails through the school. Please update your two-factor authentication so that way you don't lose communications. Just I wanted to say it out loud to remind you. And then if your term is expiring, the board election petitions are due July 29th by 4 o'clock, not 4:01. So don't be late. That's it. Sorry.
Okay. Motion to adjourn. Thank you.
Where do the arms lie?